La 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 la. No star-spangled banners flying high. Samson's waiting, but the eagle won't try. Victoria's got a thorn in its side. Diplomatic poker played worldwide. Ace on the table, hearts on the floor. Who's keeping score? Who's keeping score? No, USA and RSA. Big summit's gone astray. Trump said his piece, now he's on his way. No, USA and RSA. No, USA and RSA. Big summit's gone astray. Trump said his piece, now he's on his way. No, USA and RSA. Blank stares, the Ainsley's got no plan. Sad faces, but the show must stand. From Washington to Johannesburg sand, the game is rigged, the dealer's hand. Ace on the table, hearts on the floor. Who's keeping score? Who's keeping score? No, USA and RSA. Big summit's gone astray. Trump said his piece, now he's on his way. No, USA and RSA. No, USA and RSA. Big summit's gone astray. Trump said his piece, now he's on his way. No, USA and RSA. La 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 da 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 la da 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 da.
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Welcome back to the program today, folks. It is Tuesday, the 18th of November, 2025, coming to you live from central Pennsylvania in the studio. A little bit of, is that beard hair? What's going on there? A little piece of the beard fell off there, yeah. Welcome back to the program. Let me just double check on the sound. I don't trust the software anymore. That beard hair? Yeah, it sounds good. Okay. All right. Well, thank you for being here. First off, a program announcement. The passing of a dear friend of the channel, Fiona Timms, apparently passed away last night in the United Kingdom. Fiona, of course, known as the White Zulu, is an author of many audiobooks and published books about her life growing up in South African poverty. Fiona passed away last night. There's a tribute video to her on the channel if you'd like to watch it, and feel free to leave your comments behind if you like. If somebody is typing, what is this? Where's this at? I just saw that there. Where was that at? 11:33. Please do not put all caps in the chat. That's reserved. Okay. All right. Well, I haven't published it yet, that song. I've got both of them. So we've got two of them. So that's the second one. Yes. So fair winds and smooth sailing to Fiona Timms. Many of my viewers asked me to interview her, and I went out of my way, and she went out of her way to meet me in the Midlands a couple of years ago when I was in South Africa, and we had a lovely conversation, which was ruined by some turd balls who, made nasty comments and such. But a lovely woman. I did not know her for most of her life, but the last few years I did know her, and her passing has saddened all of us. So thank you for being here, folks. This is, of course, the fourth broadcast this morning. Well, it's my fourth broadcast, third that you get to see, plus a prepared video. But it's time to get to the news. And so let's get on with the news, ladies and gentlemen. And lots to talk about. First off, you may have noticed a hiccup in the internet this morning. Yes, I identified it pretty quickly as almost the moment that it went down because I was trying to access Twitter. and it was obvious that there was something wrong with the internet, showing you just how vulnerable we are in this modern technological age, how easy it is to shut comms down. Cloudflare says it has resolved an outage that disrupted parts of the internet. Services from Cloudflare, a software company, underpinned thousands of websites, including X, Spotify, and OpenAI. The company said a crash in its software system was to blame. Said to believe the problem has been fully resolved by 9:30, roughly 4 hours after it was first reporting issues. Said it was continuing to monitor the situation. Said the cause was a file that set off a crash in the software system and handles traffic for a number of Cloudflare services. It said there was no evidence that this was a result of an attack or caused by malicious activity. Still, what kind of confidence does that put into the internet when one single company can cause multiple sites to fail around the planet? Not good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the talons are coming out. All the polls are coming out now for who other than the Minister of Agriculture. Ooh, Daily Maverick runs a story by Rebecca Davis. Rebecca Davis, which I'm reading with great interest here, about John Steenhuisen. Is it a real story? Is there any merit to this, or is it just piling on? Big spending Steenhuisen faces scrutiny as DA fallout over axe Dion George continues. That's not a very complimentary photo, by the way. In the aftermath of Dion George's controversial axing as environment minister, questions are being asked about DA leader John Steenhuisen's alleged financial troubles amid a battle via media being fought over John Steenhuisen's contentious decision to axe stalwart Dion George as Minister of Forestry, Fisheries, and Environment. Steenhuisen is facing scrutiny over alleged difficulties managing his finances. The allegations come to light at this time due to concerns that financially precarious politicians are more vulnerable to persuasion by lobby groups, amid ongoing speculation that George may have been removed from his position in part due to his refusal to appease hunting groups. Daily Maverick can reveal that records show that Steenhuisen had a default judgment granted against him in the Cape Town Magistrates Court in May for unpaid personal credit card debt of $150,000. Whoa, 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 whoa. The dirty laundry is coming out now, folks. The dirty laundry is coming out now. My goodness. Oh, here we go. I knew it was just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. Wow. Just a matter of time, folks. Wow. So John Steenhuisen, wow. At that stage, Steenhuisen, the Minister of Agriculture, would have been on the minister's annual salary of 2.69 million rand per year, and he couldn't pay his credit card bill of 150,000. Folks, I have credit card bills that big in 1 month when I travel to South Africa. At this stage, asked by Daily Maverick, he could understand the concern around a politician earning a multi-million rand salary being unable to pay off his debt and credit cards. Steenhuisen did not dispute the default judgment. My personal finances have nothing to do with Daily Maverick unless you can demonstrate that illegal funds or the proceeds of corruption or abuse of office or undue benefits have flowed into or out of our accounts. If you have evidence of corruption or maladministration or undue benefit, you are welcome to raise same with the relevant authority. Well, I'll raise a point here. A political leader of a political party who can't manage their personal finances, who can't behave as an adult in society, I think that raises questions about the efficacy of that person. If you can't manage your credit card bill as a politician, as a member of parliament, after being there for years and years and years drawing a salary, it raises all sorts of questions about your maturity and about your level of responsibility. How can we trust people to resolve foot and mouth disease and Nile River virus in South Africa when they can't manage their credit card bill? Well, forget that it makes them susceptible to bribery. Everybody's susceptible to bribery, Jaya. And that's why we have counterintelligence agents. They are supposed to keep track of undue affluence and of people in debt. And people back in the day that were gay, because that would expose you. You used to have to keep track of that sort of thing. So, yeah, anybody's subject. So I don't buy that argument. Just because you're in debt doesn't mean you're more susceptible. Some people are, many aren't. The bottom line here, though, is it raises serious questions about a person's judgment. Serious questions. Let's get back to the story. It's widely recognized that politicians' personal finances issues are public interest, which is why South Africa's annual parliamentary register of members' interests carries disclosures of MPs' financial interests, so the electorate can assess whether the politicians acting in the public good are being steered by their financial interest. Well, that's a different story, Rebecca Davis. So here we'll part company. Yes, it is a matter of public disclosure. I know as an official, I had to disclose all my stock holdings, my mutual funds, any bank accounts I had, any resource, any property I had to disclose it. But that's for conflict of interest. That's for conflict of interest, to ensure that a politician isn't, or a government official isn't, directing things to benefit themselves personally. That's why I did. I had to recuse myself from a source selection committee because IBM was a subcontractor on a contract being bid by one of the bidders for a contract that I was going to be on the source selection committee to decide who got the multi-$100 million contract at the National Security Agency. I recused myself and stepped aside because I owned a small number of shares in IBM. And so that was a conflict of interest, and I expressed it, I identified it, and I stepped away. So I disagree with Rebecca Davis. His debt is not a matter of public interest, and they've exposed it here now. It may be a PI Act violation here, I don't know. Not PI Act violation, POPI Act violation here, excuse me, not PI Act, something different entirely. In the 2025 Register of Members' Interest, Steenhuisen recorded that he owned no shares, no land or property, and no income-generating assets, which is relatively unusual for a DA or ANC member of his age. Yeah, how old is Steenhuisen? 50 now? 52? How do you get that far in life and you have no property, no stocks, no income-generating assets, nothing? This is very strange. No, Holden Caulfield. It's the Internal Revenue Service doesn't have responsibility to ensure these sorts of things. Yep. Somebody says, you're an honest person. That guy is not. Well, I don't know if he's honest or not. I know he's arrogant. That much I know. DA insiders told Daily Maverick Steenhuisen's alleged financial disarray had been an open secret in the party for years. DA Steenhuisen's party credit card allegedly removed. Daily Maverick can reveal the DA's Federal Finance Committee earlier this year allegedly had to remove Steenhuisen's party credit card because the account could not be reconciled. What? Oh, Viking, what are you saying? He puts all his property in someone else's name? That's a possibility, but it raises questions. If he's a beneficiary of that, it's like Paul Mashatile living in someone else's house for free. Yeah, that raises questions. I chose to return the card. He acknowledged the card was returned, but claimed that he made the decision to do so. I chose to return the card and moved instead to a reimbursed system to deal with claims incurred from the execution of my duties, given that the administration relating to the card proved erroneous. This is contradicted by the party's federal finance chair. Hang on. Sorry, my answering service wouldn't pick up. Sorry about that. Yeah, answering service didn't pick up. Yeah, sorry about that. So he acknowledged the card was ripped up. This is contradicted by the party's federal finance chair, Dion George. You can't make this stuff up. So Dion George says, no, that's not what John Steenhuisen did. He's the party's federal finance chair. He says it was necessary to move Mr. Steenhuisen's party credit card as federal finance chair. I took that action. It was necessary because the account could not be reconciled as a condition of issue. George also supplied Daily Maverick with text records showing an unnamed DA staffer asking George to speak to John about his DA card. Oh my goodness. The fallout after George's axing has seen the Steenhuisen and George camps at loggerheads with accusations flying back and forth in the media. The official narrative as to why Steenhuisen wanted to remove George has been murky from the start. Initially, it was reported that this was because Steenhuisen wanted to use George's background in finance and his dual citizenship with the U.S. to use advantage, which is a lie. A position George declined. But at this point, Steenhuisen explicitly dismissed the idea that EWN, that he had booted George because of underperformance. And environmentalists and groups like the NSPCA expressed growing unhappiness over George's replacement, Billy Ocamp, because Ocamp's reported links to the captive wildlife industry. New allegations against George in various media outlets citing anonymous sources have arrived thick and fast. Yeah, it's getting kind of deep here. So this is the DA in government. There you go, folks. Is the Daily Maverick trusted source of information? No, they're not, Chippy. They're not. But Dion George is on record as saying this. So if he's lied, now, if your question here, when you say trusted sources, you can't simply dismiss sources entirely. I mean, they actually talked to this guy and they talked to Steenhuisen. They got a quote from him. So if they misquoted Steenhuisen or George, they are welcome to refute it in the press or on social media, and they won't. So we're using their words. Yeah, Ronaldo's revenge. Karma is a biatch. Yep, he expropriated himself. Yep. Anyway, Steenhuisen told News 24 he'd received a list of complaints against George, although the DA's federal chair personnel is quoted saying, no complaints have ever reached me. Ladies and gentlemen, John Steenhuisen's tenure at the head of the DA is on thin ice. I said this for several months. On several months, he's on thin ice. And this is the Democratic Alliance in government. So they joined the Government of National Unity with the ANC, formed it, and this is what you get. You get a competent deputy minister fired because the ANC didn't want him, Andrew Whitfield. You get competent younger members like Emma Powell sidelined. You get people who committed no offense, like Ronaldo Jose, treated abysmally in violation of the actual investigation the party did, booted out of the party. The party Ronaldo didn't bring the party in ill repute. The DA brought itself in ill repute. This is unbelievable. Yeah, the DA looks more like the ANC. Every day they spend in the government, the more they become just like them, the more we find out about them. Who would replace John Steenhuisen? There's a lot of people, I can tell you. I got a Rolodex here. I know some of them would love to replace him, but none of them have the courage to stand up because they know that Steenhuisen has tentacles that reach deep in the party, and that's why he's in charge in the first place. And he's a very vindictive and spiteful and disrespectful and rude person. So I think people don't want to take a chance, understandably so. I get it. But at the moment Steenhuisen is marginalized or pushed aside, there will be announcements left and right. There's a lot of people who can replace him. Yep. It's also unclear why Steenhuisen decided to remove George, at least in part, over these allegations of misconduct. He would nonetheless have wanted to retain George as his deputy trade minister. Exactly. Remember, so there's nothing but lies coming from Steenhuisen. Well, we're doing it for this reason. Well, that didn't pan out. Well, doing it for this reason. We're doing it for that reason. What's the reason? And then we see this character assassination, Deion George. I don't know if he changed his clothes in front of a female staff member. I don't know. That's what the press is reporting, and people make allegations. I don't know if he said this or did that, if he went on 12 frivolous trips. I don't know. That's not my place to decide. However, the timing was incredibly coincidental. Yep. Wow. Fred Astaire danced like a legend. John Steenhuisen couldn't dance even if you swiped his credit card through a card machine select to pay for rhythm. Steenhuisen suggests Daily Maverick's questions were designed with intention to smear my name and standing in timed retaliation for changes effected by the party of the National Executive. Well, I've correctly reported earlier this year about John Steenhuisen meeting with Iranian officials on a Friday, based on 4 independent sources, one of which was very close. And all of them independently contacted me and confirmed this story. I didn't even reach out to them. And they're all reputable people who told me this, that Steenhuisen was meeting with Iranian officials. I reported that, and boy, I have never disclosed what came afterwards. But perhaps one day I will disclose what comes afterwards. Yeah, I reported on that, and Steenhuisen refuted it, but of course it was true. And so he can refute this, so his credibility is pretty thin with me. Pretty thin. Yep, exactly, Christopher Arda. The Government of National Unity comes under a microscope. We see orange posters all over the place saying, welcome to the most race-regulated country in the world. And we see this nonsense taking place. Yep. So this is what the world will see in South Africa. Yep. Well, the U.S. has criticized South Africa over the G100 summit, which is essentially what it is. Thank you, Debbie Fox, for the super chat. There was another one I missed a few moments ago that came from Heidi Milan. Thank you, Heidi, for the 35 Rand super chat, saying you are number one. Thank you. That's very kind of you. Very kind of you. Yep, that's very kind. All right, Anna, see, calm down. See, there it is. See, you're freaking out. I told you guys, patience is a virtue, folks. Easy for me to say. I'm not in your situation, but instead of driving me crazy, just listen to what I tell you. All right. So, U.S. criticized the South Africa G20 summit as basically the G100. Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent seems to have criticized South Africa's G20 leadership, emphasizing a more streamlined U.S. approach under President Trump. 42 nations confirmed attendance for South Africa's G20 summit. 42 nations? No, it's 42 nations, international organizations. There aren't 42 nations coming. It's absolutely ridiculous, folks. Ridiculous. It's a G20. Ridiculous. You're turning into the UN General Assembly, which is ludicrous. Well, France, of course, France is a cowardly nation. We know this. We know this to be true. France says there's no genocide in South Africa, says French president's advisor. Well, guess what? No crapola Sherlocko. We know that. This is a narrative pushed by the ANC and the media in South Africa and Donnie Sullivan at CNN. Nobody's talking about a white genocide. No one's talking about that. No one's talking about that. This is nonsense being perpetrated and propagated by lying leftists. We know there's no such thing. This is ridiculous. But let's read the story anyway. Pretoria has been racing against time to salvage the summit following Trump's announcement the U.S. would not attend. French President Emmanuel Macron, who is in grave jeopardy of being bounced on his ear himself, his advisor, Jeremy Robert, says he's seen no evidence to support President Trump's allegations of genocide against white South Africa. What, for 5.5 minutes? This is the first time a high-ranking leader closely linked to one of the G7 heads of state has spoken openly against Trump's false statements about South Africa. Well, first off, Lizike Tandwa, this is listed as a news article, not op-ed. So, first off, saying Trump's lying, you are the liar because you are using news and disguising op-ed as news. It's not. It's op-ed. Camille Morfouche, Global Affairs Advisor to Macron, said they found the U.S.'s decision to snub the G20 unusual. We need to work as much as we can to still get an admission discussion. And the good thing is that the Sherpas have been negotiating throughout the year, and the U.S. did participate in initial meetings. For the rest, we do hope that this week will lead to a strong discussion. South Africa's been getting some good response in the ministerial tracks, and we've been supportive. Anyway, so this article, which purports to be news, lies and uses op-ed in it. And the French, Mr. Jeremy Robert, has been in South Africa for, what, a day? And he sees no evidence? Well, I'll show you evidence. I'll take you to Farmstead where people have been butchered. Would you like to see the walls where it says kill the boar and the blood of the victims? Would you like the grisly accounts of women gang raped in front of their children and their husband and babies? It's just, these people are sick. Yes, that's what I was just saying. Rudolph, take these people on a tour. Well, the United States, this is a very misleading article by Business Insider Africa, ignores South Africa. This is trying to stoke nonsense where there's no need for it. You see, the U.S. cut foreign assistance to South Africa. Therefore, it won't give things to South Africa, right? But look at this stupid headline today. U.S. ignores South Africa as it rolls out HIV prevention drug to 12 African countries. We didn't ignore South Africa. South Africa disqualified itself. The United States has begun rolling out new HIV prevention drugs to 12 African countries, but notably South Africa, the worst affected HIV country in the world, and the world's largest population, is not included. Initial distributions include Zambia and Eswatini will get 1,000 doses, 500 each. South Africa, despite being the worst affected country, is excluded from U.S.-funded distributions, facing self-financing expectations. A new U.S.-led initiative to expand access to HIV prevention medication in high-burden African countries began last week with delivery of 1,000 doses from Gilead Sciences' long-acting drug lenacapavir into Zambia and Eswatini. 12 other African countries were designated to receive the drug. The shipment marks the first stage of a broader effort to curb HIV transmission across sub-Saharan Africa, the region most affected by the pandemic. So the rollout went to high-burden states. Well, South Africa is a high-burden state, but the ANC disqualified itself from this. Dudu Zuma Sambudla just wanted her daddy home. She just wanted her daddy home. Yes, poor little Dudu Zuma Sambudla. Dahlia Pofa suggests the Hawks that she just wanted daddy home. Social media experts provided context on the dangerous tweets from July 2021 riots. Advocate Dahlia Mpofu, who was representing Dudu head Zuma Sambudla in her 2021 incitement trial, pulled out the daddy card. She just wanted her daddy home. He said this made her different from the dozens of others accused of instigating the violence that caused mass destruction, left 350 plus people dead. Zuma Sambudla, 43, is charged with terrorism and inciting violence through a series of what is alleged to be inflammatory social media posts. Oh, it's not alleged. They were inflammatory. We all saw them. Yep. Their posts, she had sent to an estimated 123,000 followers. Wow. At least twice she directly called for violence, once posting, "Take the day off from being the bigger person and choose violence. You deserve it." That's what she wrote. Pofu attempted appeal person to person, saying, "You say there's a close bond between father and daughter. You're a parent yourself. Your daughter would not like it if you went to prison. This particular accused is in a different category." Well, I think the people who are dead probably don't give a flying flip about whether she goes to prison. Seriously? You want empathy? Hundreds of Gazans flown to South Africa, making the New York Times. South Africa asked how. A little-known group sold passes to desperate Palestinians who didn't know the destination, catching the South African government by surprise. That's a pretty accurate statement there by John Elegant. The man on the phone said he worked for a humanitarian organization that could arrange to fly these people out of Gaza for $1,600 per person, paid to a crypto account. So he thought it was a scam and declined, but after he learned of a friend who escaped through the same group, he decided to take a chance. Yep, so they did it. Miss Shanada, a doctor, arrived in South Africa, missed her with his family last month. Among hundreds of Palestinians have landed there in recent 2 flights. Scrutiny of the flights in South Africa's handling them comes as the country faces high-stakes week on the international stage. Officials in South Africa, who have been among those vocal supporters of Palestinians, have faced criticism from local activists who believe the government mishandled the arrival last week with the second plane. Yep, there you go. So it was a pretty good story here. So by John Elegant. Beckett Sile, the cat in the hat, was given a dossier naming Cat Balatla as John Wick. What? Former police minister, the cat in the hat, Beckett Sile, was given a detailed dossier that named the security company owner Vusi Muzi Cat Matlala as the Mamelodi killer called John Wick. Wow. The 6-page intelligence report was presented to Beckett Sile in 2018. It has a picture of John Wick and his ID number. It has his previous convictions, pending case, and everything, all the matters that were withdrawn against him. So since 2018, the cat in the hat knew who the murderer was and took no action. Well, Garden Boy, tell us about that one. Come on, you're not a Garden Boy. Tell us how that happened, how you knew the murderer and you had the dossier for prosecution as early as 2018. And Nicholas says, simply the best, better than all the rest. Simply the best. Thank you so much. Yeah. Wow. Isn't that a startling discovery? Boy, the police are rotten to the core in South Africa. Speaking of selling things, Ackermans will sell 1.6 billion stake in Pick and Pay to settle their debt. Ackermans, are they in trouble? The Ackerman family sold 64 million Pick and Pay shares to large fund managers. They'll be used to settle debt they took on to support last year's rights offer. The sale cuts the Ackermans family stake in the group from 26 to 18%, worth about 3.7 billion rand. Interesting. The late Raymond Ackerman, who died in 2023, purchased the first 4 Pick and Pay stores in Cape Town in 1967. The group quickly grew to become the country's biggest retailer, pioneering retail first, including no-name food brands, in-store banking. But in recent years, its fortunes declined. It's seen a number of CEOs changes as ShopRite became the dominating force. ShopRite sucks. The Ackerman family's voting control fell below 50% after a 4 billion rand rights offer last year, which also saw them giving up the right to nominate the chairperson. So the Ackerman family is losing control of their empire. Interesting. More bad news for South Africa. We've already talked about foot and mouth disease from the deadbeat guy who can't pay his credit card bill, the Minister of Agriculture. As South Africa works to contain and treat various outbreaks of foot and mouth disease, the red meat industry has reported that another disease, Rift Valley fever, has been diagnosed in sheep. Well, this just gets from bad to worse, folks. Bad to worse. All this on the week of the G20. Well, the Hawks, it has been at least 20 hours since we've mentioned corruption in South Africa. But here's another corruption case. The Hawks are investigating South African Navy fraud, theft and corruption worth 500 million rand. Oh, just chump change there. A dent in the Drakensberg port bow after a frigate Speenkop ran into it in Simonstown. Jiminy crickets. You can't make this stuff up. The Hawks are investigating 5 cases of fraud, theft, and corruption in the South African Navy worth nearly 500 million rand. The cases date back as far as 2009, were passed to the Hawks in the wake of seemingly stonewalled investigations by military police. Deputy Police Minister Paule Boshilo told the committee that the military police took a long time to refer cases, and the military officers refused to cooperate with them. One Navy case being investigated by the Hawks deals with fraud and corruption in a contract for maintenance repairs of Navy surface and subsurface vessels for a period of 3 years. Wow. So look at that, 500 million more fraud. Just everywhere you go, fraud, 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 fraud. Well, folks, 6 decades after being removed from District 6, a pensioner wins an eviction battle. 78-year-old Noor Banu Ali has won a high court battle to stay in her longtime home. The Western Cape High Court overturned her eviction, calling the landlord's attempt to remove her unlawful and disingenuous. Judges found the eviction baseless, procedurally flawed, and unfair. Nearly 6 decades after apartheid bulldozers first tore through District 6, 78-year-old Noor Banu Ali has once again been forced to fight for her right to remain in the community she calls home. But this time, she won. She was born in India but came to South Africa as a toddler in 1947. She and her siblings lived with an aunt and her family in St. Lowry Road, District 6. As a teenager, she worked in her aunt's shop, also on Sir Lowry Road, and her cousin's butchery on 2 Hanover Street. She was employed at Groote Schuur Hospital as a nurse and lived in the community for years until the apartheid government declared District 6 a white area group in 1966. The government sent bulldozers to demolish homes and buildings and forcibly remove 60,000 people, including her. She moved to Cape Flats, but returned to District 6 50 years later in 2006 and rented a home on Dorset Street. She lived there happily for 2 decades, paying $750 in rent via the owner's managing agent and later to a shopkeeper across the road until the owner obtained an eviction order. However, the High Court on Friday dismissed the eviction bid with cost, finding that the landlord's attempt to push her out under the guise of renovations was legally baseless, factually unsupported, and unfair practice under Rental Housing Act. Well done. Well done. The dispute began in March 2023 when she received notice from Ross, that must be the person, Walid Ross, that her lease was being terminated because the landlord wished to renovate the property. No details of the planned upgrades were provided, nor any explanation why she needed to vacate. Wow. But once the matter got to court, the landlord shifted his position, arguing that it was because she was in a month-to-month lease. No reason for termination was required. Well, he lost. He lost. Congratulations to the lady. She gets to stay in District 6. Well, Henny Muller stabbed multiple times in his home in Uppington in broad daylight, 7 a.m. His wife also assaulted. She survived. He didn't. And then his home torched by arsonists. More attacks on minority white South Africans and cowardly attacks on the elderly. That was on Saturday. Oxenche, Malcolm Marx, and Pieter-Steph du Toit have been shortlisted for World Player of the Year. Interesting. Malcolm Marx ought to be the guy. 4 Springboks have been nominated. Who else? There's 4. Been nominated for Rugby Awards. Okay, that's for Player of the Year. Wow. Huh. So there you go. Pretty cool. Malcolm Marx, that would be my choice. And Ethan Hooker is for, I guess, Newcomer of the Year. Pieter-Steph du Toit. Africa has a debt crisis. You think? Thank you for that, Daily Maverick. It's so insightful. Yeah, this story we talked about yesterday. The goal here is to create a talk forum to complain about the debt. That's not going to solve anything. Ethan Hooker, yeah, but what's... Yeah, Louis B.L. Barry will get it. You're right about that. So why are crime stats delayed in South Africa? Well, this is happening again. Some crime stats are delayed. Missing data for crimes against women and children, category changes, and police dysfunction are some reasons given for the delayed crime stats. As no official explanation is forthcoming, now already 3 months late, the crime stats. They're covering up the crime stats. They're altering this. This gives no credibility, no confidence whatsoever in the process. Well, one commentator says the red cards are not thuggery. I disagree. Red cards not about buck thuggery, refs following head contact protocols. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're inconsistent. This story is simply wrong. I'm sorry there, Mr. Tutsi. Yep. Former referee Leseho Pro Lochote believes the Springboks have been unlucky with these calls as officials have been following the letter of the law and dealing with contact in the neck and head area. Untrue. Untrue. Franco Mostart never touched the head of the player. That was after contact. No. Nope. Unreal. Sorry, disagree. Kenya has discovered the largest gold deposits in decades, worth an estimated $5.3 billion. They've taken a major step towards boosting the mining sector after British firm Shante Gold confirmed a new 5.29 million gold discovery. Its underground project. Wow, that's impressive. Good luck with that. See how that goes for Kenya. Chris Myberg, what sad news are you talking about? Well, here's a joke of a story. The top 10 militaries in Africa. And you'll be shocked to see who they list. Africa's strongest militaries 2025 show wide gaps in capability, budgets, and workforce. Egypt and Algeria continue to dominate the continent's defense landscape. So, they say Egypt has the most powerful military in Africa. That may be true. Algeria, number 2, probably. Nigeria, number 3, questionable. South Africa, number 4, what a joke. Absolute joke. Absolute joke. Ethiopia, number 5, they have a stronger military than South Africa. Angola has a far stronger military than any of those countries except the top 2. Morocco has a stronger military than South Africa. The DRC, I don't know about that. Sudan, they're getting pummeled by the RSF, so I doubt that. And Libya, no, they're still in disarray. I disagree with many of these conclusions here. Simply not true. Well, folks, Australia has canceled a visa for a South African, yes, for attending a neo-Nazi rally. Apparently, it's free speech is not allowed in Australia. South African national, his wife and newborn have been told they must leave the country within 30 days. The Albanese government has canceled the visa of a South African man who attended a neo-Nazi rally outside New South Wales Parliament, saying Australia will not tolerate foreign nationals who fuel hatred or undermine social cohesion. Wow, so you can't walk on the streets. Interesting. Matthew Gruder has taken to immigration detention at 4 a.m. on the 18th after being identified among 60 black-clad demonstrators. Oh, black-clad. Okay, all right. Okay, now it's a different story there. That's not free speech. That's your black-clad. Looking for trouble here. Yep, displaying anti-Jewish slogans and chanting Hitler Youth-style phrases. He now faces imminent removal from Australia. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke defended swift action, saying visa holders stay in the country on the expectation they are lawfully and responsibly. Agreed. That's why the 20 million criminal alien invaders need to be kicked out of America, because they didn't enter lawfully. If someone turns up for the purpose of just abusing people and wrecking the place and damaging the cohesion, you can ask them to leave. Australia's asking them to leave. If they come under the hate laws, then they shouldn't be allowed to do it, regardless of whether neo-Nazis or whether they're different religions or different cultural backgrounds are appealing to hate on the streets. We don't want to hear either one. But simply kicking somebody out of the country for speaking freely, even if it's vile, that's a slippery slope. A slippery slope. Possible new limits on Nazi symbols. The Min's government is also considering extending existing bans on Nazi symbols to cover slogans and chants used by groups such as the National Socialist Network. Wow, but they allow Antifa. Wow. Well, a new Trump resort in the Maldives has got people's attention. Oh, man. Announcement of a new project in Saudi partners comes as the country's crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman, visits Washington, D.C., and they're courting crypto investors. Look at that. The Trump organization is planning a Trump-branded resort in the island archipelago in the Maldives, partnering with Saudi-owned developer and using a crypto-like funding vehicle to raise money from investors. The Maldives project is the latest in a series of global property deals announced by the Trump organization since he was elected last year, and combines the company's real estate experience with its growing interest in cryptocurrencies. And it's one of many deals announced every year. So why do you mention since he became president? Trump will host the Saudi Crown Prince, talking about defense, trade, and the Middle East today. And he intends to sell the F-35 to Saudi Arabia, which has got a lot of conservatives upset. Underscores a rehabilitation of Saudi Crown Prince ahead of the White House meeting on Tuesday. President Trump said Monday that the U.S. would sell advanced F-35 fighter jets to Saudi Arabia, announcing his decision the day before he meets at the White House with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. We'll be doing that. We'll be selling F-35s. Didn't give me specifics, but they're going to do it. Well, looky here. Who have I been calling the grifter-in-chief, the corrupt leader of Ukraine? Now, corruption is coming home to roost for him. The investigation has reached higher up in Ukraine and closer to the president himself than any other during his tenure. Inside the Ukrainian corruption probe, edging closer, ever closer to Volodymyr Zelensky, the grifter-in-chief. Just past 2 a.m. when Timur Mindic crossed the border into Poland last week, a few hours before detectives descended on his Ukrainian home as part of an investigation into high-level corruption that has convulsed war-torn country. Some 70 residences across Ukraine were raided in the operation as part of the criminal investigation, in which 5 people were detained. Mindic, a former business partner of President Volodymyr Zelensky and one of those officially accused, remains at large outside Ukraine. Was he warned? This must be investigated. Of course he was warned. Of course he was warned. Yeah, this rot goes deep, and giving money to Ukraine is a fool's errand. The European Union plans to block aluminum scrap exports starting next year, fearful they'll run short of aluminum. The European Commission plans to restrict exports of aluminum scrap amid concerns that rising outflows of the resource could leave Europe short of critical input for its decarbonization efforts. Well, there you go. Interesting. So now they're going to stop exports. Snow falls across parts of Scotland as wintry weather grips the northern half of the United Kingdom. It's snowing. Do they know it's Christmas? No, it's not. Snow has fallen across parts of Scotland as wintry weather grips the northern half of the UK. The Met Office issued yellow weather warnings for ice and snow across almost all of Scotland for today, with the exception of some parts of the east and west coast. Areas of northern England as far as south as Lancashire and Yorkshire are also covered by yellow ice warning. Be careful out there, folks, on those roads. Not good. Saab shares soar on deal with Colombia, selling the Gripen. They will sell 17 Gripen fighter jets to Colombia between 2026 and 2032. Shares are up 7.9% in afternoon trade in Stockholm, with more than doubled in value in the year to date. You should have bought it earlier. The Swedish defense company will deliver 15 Gripen E-seat and 2 Gripen F2-seater aircraft between 2026 and 32, as well as equipment, weapons, training, and services. That's a nice little sale for them. Wow. Peru and the Philippines are also assessing the jets, while a recently signed air defense cooperation deal between Sweden and Ukraine includes potential to export 100 to 150 Gripen fighter jets to Ukraine. Wow. That's some good news for Saab, which of course no longer makes the cars that we once loved or loved to hate. Canada has warned 17 African countries are at risk. Dangerous places to go. High-risk advisory for 17 African countries, including South Sudan, Burkina Faso, Central African Republic, Libya, Mali, Niger, Somalia, Sudan, Madagascar, Ethiopia, Burundi, Chad, the DRC, Eritrea, Mauritania, Nigeria, and Tanzania. Well, I lived in Mauritania. It wasn't that dangerous. I lived in Niger. It wasn't that dangerous. But things have changed in Niger since I lived there. Much more dangerous. President Trump hosting the Saudi Crown Prince. His first visit since 2018. He'll arrive at the White House and some of its objectives already accomplished. Trump said that he'll sell the F-35, ignoring concerns raised by the Pentagon about the risk involved in selling the technology to an ally that has a security partnership with China. Yes, a country that's joined BRICS. Not a wise move, President Trump. Trump bows to reality. This is what the New York Times says. Donald Trump calls for the Republicans to vote to release the files, and now the New York Times slanders him and says he's bowing. Not bowing. He's the one that called for the release. They've released the files 4 different times, 4 tranches, and he's the one that says let it all go. And you guys are lying. President Trump denounced calls for release Epstein files as a hoax. He dispatched aides to warn Republicans that backing will be seen as a hostile act. He placed personal calls to those who dared to do so, and even dispatched his Attorney General to meet with one in the White House Situation Room in efforts to get her to flip. In the end, none of it worked. Well, so he's calling for the release. Well, Fed Governor Lisa Cook, accused of mortgage fraud, explains her position. Ahead of a Supreme Court hearing, Cook's lawyers argues apparent discrepancies don't constitute fraud and alleges selective enforcement against political opponents. I don't know about that. She definitely committed fraud based on what they released in the public, but we'll see. We'll see. Under Trump, immigrants are fearful. Really? Why would immigrants be fearful? Do you mean criminal alien invaders? New York Times? Maybe. A national survey found that half of all immigrants say they feel less safe since Trump took office. Many say their future remains bright, however. Really? So, are these really immigrants, or are they criminal alien invaders? Louis Farrar Saduri, Ruth Iganilik, and Anne Lay. As the Trump administration seeks to remake the immigration system and deports tens of thousands of people, many immigrants are scared about living in the United States, and yet their resolve here is unchanged. A new national survey of immigrants, both documented and undocumented. Okay, so first off, it's an illegitimate survey. undocumented are criminals. They're aliens. They're not immigrants, so you can't count them in that. That's nonsense. That skews things. Legal people who have a right to be here are not going to be crying about this, but criminals will cry about it. So that there's no merit to that whatsoever. NVIDIA, Microsoft, and Entropy commit $45 billion AI partnership. Wow. They're also going to optimize NVIDIA's technology for Claude platform. Anthropic said it plans to purchase $30 billion of Microsoft's Azure computing capacity to scale and train its Claude model. In addition, NVIDIA and Anthropic are partnering to optimize NVIDIA's technology for Claude's platform. And the three companies said Tuesday NVIDIA would invest up to $10 billion in Anthropic, while Microsoft pledged up to $5 billion. Anthropic also agreed to buy 1 gigawatt of computing power from NVIDIA's Grace Blackwell and Vera Rubin systems. Wow. Increasingly, we're going to be customers of each other. Wow, it's a bunch of self-licking lollipops there. Amazon cutting 14,000 corporate jobs amid AI push. The move aims to streamline operations, flatten management, and fund a massive artificial intelligence expansion. That's a lot. 14,000 management people will be let go. Corporate positions. That's a lot of revenue going to disappear in people's pockets. Google has released its new version of Gemini, version 3. The updated model could help the company leverage its built-in advantages of scale and profitability if it can meet users' expectations. Well, the second version sucked because you can no longer make landscape images. Gemini 3 will improve the sophistication of answers to queries in Gemini app as well as those being made in the Google search engine. New model is also significantly more skilled at coding, developing applications, and generating images. I like to think this model will help everyone bring an idea that they have to life. Well, let's hope so. Let's hope so. So, Gemini 3 is out there. Steve Green, I don't know where you're from. If you're from South Africa, you have 2 Gripens and 1 qualified pilot. 608 defendants in a massive case of theft charged, over $2.3 billion stolen from 1 million American seniors. Wow. Department of Justice charged 608 defendants between July 2024 and June of 2025 for allegedly stealing more than $2.36 billion from elderly Americans. More than 1 million elderly Americans were defrauded. During the reporting period, the department pursued 283 criminal and civil enforcement actions involving conduct that targeted or disproportionately affected older adults. Approximately 95% of the cases were criminal in nature and 36% involved international schemes. That's crazy. Investment fraud resulted in the highest loss among elders at $1.83 billion. Romance scams resulted in $389 million, while government impersonation led to losses of $208 million. Jeez. They're targeting the elderly. It's just horrible stuff. Horrible stuff. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the news for today. I hope that you found that helpful, useful. And all right, let me see what's going on in the chat over here. Be sure to hit that like button if you haven't done it already. 4 years away from Skynet attacking me. You're right, Cameron. We're close. Skynet. I saw, what's this? Okay. No X-32 battalion chopper pilots in this chat. They fearfully because they know ISIS is coming from. Exactly. Exactly, Alan. If you're here legally, nothing to worry about, man. Was in the South African Air Force when before we purchased them. I mean, yeah, no, they are fantastic aircraft. The Gripen is fantastic, including the latest version is even better. What else we got here? Jonathan Boy, hello to you. Farmers must watch out if they inject these animals with wants to control. I don't know what that is. Okay. You guys are chatting with each other. No, I'm not including DACA. But they're also here illegally. People must look into HIV, antiretrovirals, vaxes, and gates. Okay, all over covert vax. I don't know why I need to look into them. 2 soldiers with spears in a canoe can infiltrate South Africa. South Africa number 4, yeah, there's no way. Yeah, you did lose to Lesotho in 1998. If it hadn't been for the Botswana Defense Force, you probably would have ran out of the country. Yep. Yeah, Rossi not naming for Coach of the Year. Season's still on, but they gave it to Mitchell already. Exactly. Yep. No, it just shows you. I mean, Rossi has put a team on the field, taking people from the wings and putting them in at the center position. He's used a scrum half to be. It's unbelievable what he's accomplished this season. Other than that embarrassing loss to Australia and the disappointing loss in Auckland, or not in Auckland, in Eden Park, to the All Blacks, it's been like a perfect season. And he puts 13 guys in the field and he still beats the other side, and not even considered for Coach of the Year. It's terrible. It's nonsense. Police agent had handlers, then said Buenas is working with the West, and it's a CIA agent. Yeah, I never saw him around the water cooler at the CIA. It'll be another Zondo commission, right? Jessica Kotsia, thank you for your subscription. I do appreciate that. Super Chat's dried up. Thank you, Nicola, for yours. Henning Vissa, sometimes it can be very detrimental to your health. You're both arrogant and stupid. Yep. There's a Super Chat from GFP. At the moment I mentioned, it was already being put in. Thank you for that. 70 Rand. So I understand why people fleeing a war zone have that amount of dollars available to pay to leave. Exactly, Jonathan. But they're all dead, It's a genocida, and they're all dead, according to many people. After those riots, there were a lot of people wearing brand new expensive clothes. Oh, yeah, there were. There were, definitely. Absolutely true. Easiest around an armored vehicle and driving a blue light brigade. You're right about that. You are darn skippy about that. It's easy to do that, isn't it? So let's see. Anyway, I need to do something here very quickly here. Somebody's mowing. It is November 18th and they're mowing the lawn. The grass hasn't grown in a month. It's because she wanted her daddy home. A daughter has to live with the trauma that the riots caused. Exactly. Exactly, just another girl. Yep. You're right about that. Yeah, please hit the like button. 335 likes, 480 people here. Come on, people, hit the like button. If we get a few more, we'll be over 3,000 this stream. That'd be pretty cool. 500 million. I'm not sure what the 500 million was. I can't tell you about $711 million that was given for Rona. Left's media machine is running on all cylinders to undermine and misrepresent Afrikaners. Yeah, you're right, Art. It's true. France also have 5 cents to say about the U.S. refugees. Yeah. Well, I don't know if I didn't see them say that. Can we somehow take these uninformed individuals on tour bus? Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Yeah, these people obviously have no clue what the definition of yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's virtue signaling by the left. If war is declared in the Far East somewhere, France and Italy will immediately surrender. If war is declared in France, they'll surrender. Debbie Fox, 350 Rand. Thank you for that. No such thing as an honest politician. I don't know about that, Bosskin. I think there are some honest politicians, just not many of them. Jonathan Vitboy, welcome to you. And I'm caught up on the chat. Look at that. Just like that, I've caught up on the chat. Son of a gun. Which means he hadn't mowed his lawn in a month. Exactly. Exactly. And now he's out there making noise on Tuesday. I'll give him that. At least it's not Sunday when people should be resting. He had a busy day so far, Colonel. Tried to pop in where I can. I'll go back and watch everything. Well, that's kind of you, Chasik. I appreciate that. It's a new black helicopter. Oh, is that a black helicopter? They should be in whisper mode. They're not in whisper mode. That's not, man. I sound great. Well, thank you, Jay. It's very kind of you. That's kind of you. We played the No USA and RSA song a little while ago, and somebody loved it. Let me play the other version of it, okay? This is the first one. This is the one we play most of the time.
No star-spangled banners flying high, Santa's waiting, but the eagle won't try. Pretoria's got a thorn in its side, diplomatic poker played worldwide. Ace on the table, hearts on the floor. Who's keeping score? Who's keeping score? No USA and RSA, big summit's gone astray.
Do Little Lamola. Come on, do Little Lamola.
No USA in RSI. Blank stares, the ANC's got no plan. Sad faces, but the show must stand. From Washington to Johannesburg sand, the game is rigged, the dealer's hand. Ace on the table, hearts on the floor. Who's keeping score? Who's keeping score? No USA and RSA. Big summit's gone astray. Trump said his piece, now he's on his way. No USA and RSA.
Do Little Lamola.
No USA and RSA.
Do the Steenheisen. Oh, that's exhausting, man. I don't know if I can keep that up. I did the Lamola, then I did the Steenheisen. It's too much, man. Here's the Lamola. Here's the Steenheisen. Whew, that's exhausting, man. That'll wear you out. Whew, I need a nap after that. Whoo-hoo. Do the Lamola. Yeah, Trump does have better moods. Trump does have better moods than Ronnie Lamola. That's for darn sure, man. Huey up in the air daily with tourists here in Cape Town. Yeah, I know about that, Lana. I was offered a ride on that, but it didn't pan out. Didn't pan out on that. So, ladies and gentlemen, the big news breaking this hour was the story about the Daily Maverick writing a story about John Steenheisen's finances, claiming that he settled a debt for 150,000 Rand. And Steenheisen's response, none of your damn business. But it is a matter of public interest. I mean, if you got a member of government who has no discernible external income, no property, no stocks, no bonds, no savings, no homes. He owns nothing. After being in government forever, where's all his money go, man? Where's it go? Don't say it. I know you're going to say it. Don't say it. Don't say where his money goes. Don't say it. I know somebody's going to say it. I didn't see your question above, J.I. What is your question above? How far above is it? I just went through all the chat. You said you sound great. Oh, it's Jay. That's not J.I. I don't see any question from you. We had one jet hauling butt over a house today, West Rand. Oh, thank you, GFP, for that 70 Rand. I never did thank you for that. I mentioned it when it came up. Cats, Tigers. You're welcome. My pleasure. I don't see anything here from Jaya. You're going to have to repeat your question, please. So, when he goes for dancing. Charles, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say it was the dancing and restaurants, you know. Yep. Streetwise fonts. That's messed up. That's so messed up, man. That's messed up. He ate it. Cater owning 23 million houses. Yeah, well, I mentioned that whatever that username is. I did mention that. You know, it's kind of hard to address you when you have just like looks like Amharic there. So I did address that. I said Paul Mashatile living in a 30 million rand mansion in the Western Cape, driving a bus. No, it hasn't been confirmed, Jonathan. I can't find it anywhere. I have no confirmation of that. It's going to be wrong, yeah. Okay. Just a simple question. Are your ideologues to the right or center right? Sorry, just asking. Huh? Or my ideologies. I'm center right, if such a thing exists. Yes. Center right. I believe in traditional liberal values like freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of worship, right to seek redress from your government. Those are traditional liberal ideals. I believe in those. I also believe in the right to life. I also believe in a strong defense, free market, as well as minimal government intrusion into private citizens' lives. Don't believe in multilateralism. I've been involved with multilateralism much of my life, and I've seen how it doesn't work. You can't get consensus from 20 actors. You can from 3 or 4. Yep. Did you get my email? Jackie, I don't know. I don't know if I got your email. I haven't looked at emails today. Guys, I've been broadcasting for 5.5 hours. I had a meeting this morning, so where the heck is it at? I ain't even here, so that's the wrong place for that. Anyway, I can't find anything from Italy, so I don't know if that's a true story or somebody just talking at their backside. Okay, I get an email from who was just asked me that question. Did you get my email? Jackie Kane. I was to see Jackie Chan. Jackie Kane. I've got email from a lot of people today. Somebody sent me an Offer Cons email. There it is. You sent it yesterday and you're asking me already? Huh. I don't. I mean, just glancing through it, I don't know what the issue is. There's no convictions there. So, yep, Jackie, I've read it. I'll try to answer it later. But the short answer is, I don't know why you would have a problem. I have to reread it. Maybe there's something I missed. Ivan Prihodoko, welcome to you. Thank you. Did you see the UK Home Office threatening to ban visas from Namibian and Angolans who make someone put time? No, I didn't see that, Jay. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. Yeah, why Namibians and Angolans? Namibians have no basis for an asylum claim, none whatsoever, unless they happen to be gay, because it's death sentence there. Angolans, I don't know what their basis is. Pakistanis, yeah. Funny how centralists are now. Well, look at the government, Jay. Look at the Home Affairs Minister is an Indian. The government's rife with Indians. The former prime minister was a billionaire Indian, almost a billionaire, who hid his money in the Channel Islands. Yeah, remember that? So yeah, UK is run by the subcontinent. It's the revenge of Gandhi. Well, not Gandhi, of the Indians. They've taken over the UK. So of course they're going to let the Indians and Pakistanis in the country. Exactly. It's funny how centrists are now considered right-wing conservatives because left has gone so far left. You're right about that. 1,000 Pakistani claims, yeah. From what exactly? Well, Charles, I'm sorry about the ads, but something's got to feed the beast. Vanna, take care. Riffs Hards, 350 Rand super chat. Thank you for that. Wow. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate that. Hey, clouds are gathering. Going to medical tomorrow. I've never been so happy. Quit telling people that, Madeline. Congratulations. Is it Ron Poe to ask people when he should resign? Yes, that was actually, somehow that did make it in my news summary. Yeah, I did see that. He said that he dared people to make it, and then the Mabalula and others came out and defended him. Take a long-deserved break. You deserve it after all the hard work you do. Thanks. I mean, today would be a good day to do it. When did you last eat something, Colonel? I last ate something last night at 8 o'clock. That would be 18 hours ago, last time I had something to eat. Well, 16 hours ago, not 18. Gemini, what's up? Gemini, are you the AI? We have Gemini in here? Get YouTube Premium, then there's no ads. Yeah, pay for the, and I still get money. If you get Premium, I make money. In fact, let me see how I did. I didn't make a lot because we're not making a lot of money anyway, so let me see. This is what I want. I'm on the wrong thing here. Come on. There we go. Okay. Come on. Faster, YouTube. Faster. Oh my goodness. This is YouTube acting up again. There we go. Finally. Okay. So, see more. Premium is what I want. YouTube Premium. Yeah, I made 7% of my revenue came from YouTube Premium. 35% came from Super Chat. Watch paid ads down to 27%. That's dropped. It was watch paid ads were like 70% of the revenue a few months back, and I was actually making some coin. Not making so much coin now. Not making so much coin now. Anyway, but thank you all for the Super Chats and those who watch the ads. I do appreciate them. We hit 114,800 today, so cool. You haven't eaten and been working nonstop. You better stop and check those emails. So how is that not working if I'm checking emails? No, why do you think the Lily interview is tonight, Just Another Girl? It's not posted for tonight. It's posted for Thursday. I think it's Thursday. Now I got to double check. You got me confused. I'm also going to have Thursday, I'm going to have Use Stridham on the program too, so I got to set that up. We're going to talk about the CNN interview, and I'm going to have Ernst Rhodes. I'm just waiting for his response. Is what a hoodie? This is a hoodie. Well, Sonic Boom, people concerning they receive flight tickets and they're going to fly this week should shut their cake holes. First off, they may put themselves in jeopardy because we're still waiting for the regime. That's Biden regime. For the Trump administration, thank you, Urban Homestead, 140 Rand, kind of you, super chats. We're still waiting for the Trump administration to consult with Congress, which is a legal requirement. Now, they could skip that and break the law, but I mean, that's their prerogative. I mean, to put themselves in that bind. Yes, Lily's on the 20th. Thank you for that, Lindy. Yeah, it's always been on the 20th. I don't know where people got it from. Hangry? I'm not hangry. I can't get hangry. Samoa just snuck into the World Cup. Oh, are you serious? All Belgium had to do was beat them, and they got a 13-13 draw. Oh, that would have been so cool to see Belgium go. Wow. That's right, it was today. Dang. Don't you think the Miz have the claim for Simon, as you said, but I just think the irony of focus. Oh, no, I agree with you, Jay. I agree. I don't disagree with your point. I'm just saying they have no basis at all. Yep. Slow Puppy says hookers and below. That's what he says. Okay, people are posting their flight tickets in groups. Well, then these people should have their trips canceled. I mean, these people are so irresponsible. They should have their canceled. Absolutely canceled. Absolutely canceled. They have no business coming over. Does that hurt their feelings? They are reckless and selfish. Selfish. Reckless and selfish. That's arrogant beyond belief. No regard or concern for anyone else. Just all about them. There are probably people writing me all the time. Yep. Wow. I don't like KFC. It's beyond stupid. It's selfish and arrogant is what it is. Yep. I have seen images. Yep. I mean, well, Belgium played well, Flesham, but not well enough. They should have won. Yep. It's unbelievable. They risk other people. It's just, and then what happens when stupid stuff like this happens and there's disruption and people don't come? Remember, people ran their mouths and said where venues were? Then they canceled interviews for several days while they found another venue. Hey, Loretta. All right, good luck with that. Merlot, wow, Merlot as in wine, gave 140 Rand. I'm going to send you a blank email so I get the call. It's not how it works. Yep. What are you apologizing for, Madeline? You didn't do anything wrong. I was just giving you a hard time. Germany 10-0 against Latvia. What is that, soccer? Well, they're doxing themselves. They're doxing themselves by posting. No one, it's just ridiculous. Wow. Ridiculous. If you come across these images, feel free to send them to me. I won't use them against people, but I need to know this. I have already seen one. I already seen one of these messages. So, all right. So let me just check on something here real quick. I want to see if this is going on. Anyway, you're welcome for the stream, Hester. They're putting everybody at risk. It's very selfish. Very selfish. Very, very selfish. Okay, so guys, we're going to wrap it up here. Thank you for the super chats. I appreciate it. And so People Americanos Nexus group today posted an image of people complaining about their housing in America. What is the Americanos Nexus group? I don't know what that is. Never heard of it. Complaining about their housing in America? Wow. Okay. Well, we can send you back to South Africa. We can send you back to South Africa if you don't like the housing. Boy, people get handed stuff and they want to bitch about it. That's unreal. Unreal. People get handed stuff and they want to bitch about it. All right, folks, if you're interested, you'll be directed to Ronaldo automatically from here, okay? You guys take care. Cheers.
With American Century